The woman had just returned home when she saw her husband being overly intimate with a pregnant woman. Before she could even ask who the woman was, her daughter ran over and told her, "A new mommy came to our house. She's going to give me a baby brother." Hearing this, the woman was completely shocked. She couldn't believe her husband would betray her, so she loudly questioned him, asking why his mistress was in their home. Before the husband could respond, his father stepped in and explained that the mistress was pregnant with his son's baby, and it was a boy. The whole family had decided to let her give birth, all because the woman had never been able to give them a son, and such a vast family fortune couldn't go without an heir. That's why they made this decision. Before the woman could argue back, the husband's father, full of male chauvinism, declared that it was normal for a man to make mistakes outside the home. He even scolded his own wife for defending her. Seeing the whole family treat her this way, the woman instantly felt that her 6 years of effort in the marriage had all been for nothing. She had even quit her job to take care of the family. It turned out she was just a free housemaid for her husband's family, but her husband couldn't see her efforts at all. He thought everything she did was just what she should be doing. He even blamed everything on her. Her only fault was that she couldn't give birth to a boy. As soon as he finished speaking, the husband's mistress immediately declared her dominance in public. She bluntly called the woman an ugly housewife, saying that whether it was looks or status, the woman had no qualifications to compare with her. As soon as she said that, the woman slapped her across the face. She called her a shameless homewrecker. The mistress was furious. She told the man that she had a billion-dollar project meeting tomorrow, and now that she'd been slapped, how could she show her face? Upon hearing this, the man slapped the woman without a word. He accused her of being cruel and vicious. When the woman stayed silent, his father took it as silent agreement. He even ordered her to take care of the mistress's daily needs until the baby was born. But the woman refused on the spot. Then she prepared to leave with her daughter. But to her surprise, the man's father opposed it. He insisted the girl was his biological granddaughter and must stay. He pointed out that the woman didn't even have a job and couldn't possibly afford to raise her. Even the mistress took the chance to mock her, saying that after all these years of not working, how could she possibly afford a child? She might as well leave the girl behind. The mistress promised to care for the girl like her own daughter. Seeing the woman still wouldn't agree to leave the child, the man's mother tried to persuade her, saying she would take good care of the child, and once the woman found a job, she'd return the child. Hearing this, the woman listened to the man's mother's words and left, leaving her child behind. Soon, the woman started looking for work. She needed something that allowed her time to care for her child, but also paid well. But after searching for a long time, she found nothing suitable. Just as she was feeling lost, she suddenly got a phone call. The caller invited her to interview for a financial analyst position at a corporation the next day. The pay and benefits were exactly what she was looking for, so she agreed right away. But what she didn't know was that the HR director of the company was actually her husband's mistress. When the mistress saw that the woman was coming for an interview at the company, she immediately decided to interview her personally to humiliate her. So the next day, when the woman arrived at the company, she was taken to the office by the mistress's assistant. It wasn't until the interviewer turned around that the woman realized her interviewer was her husband's mistress. But in order to get the job, she forced herself to endure the discomfort and continued the interview. To her surprise, the mistress immediately mocked her as a mere housewife. She even said the woman was an unloved third wheel in her own marriage. But the woman knew she was here for a job interview, not to be insulted, so she stood up and prepared to leave. But the mistress stopped her. She said she knew the woman had only been a low-level employee before marrying her husband, and had spent 6 years as a full-time housewife. Yet now her resume looked too impressive. So she had reason to believe the woman had faked her resume. But the woman wasn't afraid. After all, everything on her resume was real. She even told the mistress to go ahead and run a background check. Sure enough, the mistress called the company the woman had listed on her resume. She asked whether the woman had actually worked there. When she got a negative response, the mistress became even more certain the woman was a fraud. How dare she lie on her resume? She called her shameless. But only the woman knew her resume was completely true. She had once been the CEO of a major corporation, but she didn't want to show off, so she kept a low profile, which is why few people at her previous company knew her real identity. Eventually, to help her husband start his business, she resigned, and chose to become a housewife. Yet her talents were recognized by other CEOs. One even offered her a high salary to return as CEO, but she turned down the offer to focus on her family. What the woman didn't know was that the company she was interviewing at today was a branch of the company owned by that very CEO. Even the mistress was just a subordinate of that CEO. But the ignorant mistress didn't care about any of that. She believed the woman was someone unappreciated in her marriage. Even her daughter was neglected. Once her own son was born, she'd have the daughter serve them. She outright said the mother and daughter were born to serve others. But before she could finish speaking, the woman slapped her across the face. Humiliated in front of her subordinates, the mistress immediately ordered her people to teach the woman a lesson. Her men restrained the woman, and the mistress began to beat her. She even threatened the woman with her daughter's safety. When the woman still refused to bow down, the mistress ordered her men to strip off the woman's clothes and humiliate her in front of everyone. She even called all the employees to come watch. To make things worse, she filmed the whole scene on her phone to post it online and publicly shame the woman. She even used the daughter's safety to force the woman to admit she was a homewrecker. Otherwise, she wouldn't spare the girl, but the woman still wouldn't give in. Then the mistress saw a fruit